You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Domain 5 of the Security Plus body of knowledge broadens the focus from the technical details of systems and incidents into the larger discipline of managing a security program. Its scope covers governance, risk management, compliance obligations, security awareness, audits, vendor oversight, and overall program measurement. While the earlier domains concentrated on implementing and defending, this domain focuses on sustaining and steering. Security does not succeed through isolated technical wins alone. It must operate as a managed function with accountability, metrics, and alignment to business objectives. Governance sets the rules of engagement, risk defines the priorities, compliance ensures obligations are met, awareness develops the human layer, and audits validate whether the program is effective. Vendor management ensures external dependencies are not weak links. For learners, think of Domain 5 as the layer that keeps the engine of cybersecurity running smoothly, not just operating in the moment, but monitored, adjusted, and guided to ensure long-term resilience. The role of security program management is to align day-to-day security activities with the broader goals of the business and to measure outcomes in ways that executives can understand. Security professionals often get caught up in technical details, patch counts, alerts closed, or signatures deployed. While those metrics matter, leadership wants to know whether risks are being reduced, compliance maintained, and business processes protected. Program management translates technical actions into risk-oriented outcomes that resonate with business priorities. For example, instead of reporting, quote, 2,000 vulnerabilities patched, program oversight reframes the outcome as, quote, critical exposure window reduced from 30 days to 10. In this way, the program ensures security is not a siloed technical pursuit, but a recognized business enabler. For learners, think of program management as the bridge between engineers working on the factory floor and executives charting the company's growth strategy. Both matter, but alignment is critical. Stakeholder engagement is another defining element of security program oversight. Effective programs involve not only IT staff, but also boards of directors, senior executives, legal teams, human resources, and business unit owners. Each group has a role. The board sets governance expectations, executives align funding, legal ensures compliance with laws, HR integrates security into employee lifecycle processes, and business leaders enforce secure practices within their units. Without broad stakeholder participation, security programs risk becoming IT-driven checklists rather than enterprise-wide commitments. For learners, think of cybersecurity as a community effort within an organization. Just as a city's safety depends on police, fire services, city planners, and public health all working together, organizational security requires cooperation across multiple domains. Program management ensures all these stakeholders have defined roles, clear communication, and accountability in the larger governance structure. Every effective program is made up of clear components that form its operational backbone. Policies define the rules and expected behaviors. Risk management identifies, prioritizes, and mitigates the most serious threats to the business. Compliance ensures that regulatory frameworks and industry standards are adhered to. Training and awareness programs build security culture by educating employees at every level. Metrics provide visibility into whether controls are working, while continuous improvement processes ensure that lessons learned drive refinements. These components form a cycle that turns security from a reactive function into a managed discipline. For learners, think of it as the pillars holding up a building. Remove one, say, awareness training, and the program is weaker and vulnerable to collapse. Together, the components give structure, ensuring that security oversight is systematic, repeatable, and measurable. It is also important to distinguish between tactical operations and strategic oversight. Tactical operations, often called security operations or SecOps, focus on day-to-day activities like monitoring alerts, patching systems, and responding to incidents. Strategic oversight, on the other hand, looks at long-term effectiveness. Are the right controls in place? Is risk being reduced? And is security aligned with business growth? The two functions complement each other. SecOps fights the fires, while oversight ensures the organization builds better fire prevention. Without oversight, tactical teams burn out fighting repeat problems. Without operations, oversight becomes an academic exercise. For learners, think of this as the difference between doctors in an emergency room and public health officials. The ER treats symptoms immediately, but public health shapes long-term policies that reduce illness. Domain 5 emphasizes the strategic oversight role that ensures operations are sustainable and effective. Maturity models provide a way to benchmark program capabilities and identify gaps. These models outline levels ranging from ad hoc and reactive programs at the lowest tier to optimized, continuously improving programs at the highest. For example, a low-maturity organization may have informal security policies, inconsistent incident response, and no metrics. A high-maturity organization has policies tied to business objectives, automated controls, measured metrics, and established continuous improvement. By benchmarking against maturity models, organizations gain clarity on where they are, where they want to be, and what steps will get them there. For learners, think of this like athletic training. A beginner may run inconsistently, while a professional athlete tracks nutrition, training, and recovery with precision. Maturity models provide a structured way to measure progress, avoid complacency, and guide resource allocation. A security roadmap is another critical element of program oversight. Roadmaps align security initiatives with business priorities, breaking large goals into milestones with measurable outcomes. For example, a roadmap might target implementing multi-factor authentication across all business units within 12 months, reducing vendor risk scores by 20% in 2 years, or achieving ISO 27001 certification by year-end. Each milestone is tied to business objectives, ensuring the program delivers recognizable value. Roadmaps also help manage stakeholder expectations by showing that progress is measured in achievable steps, rather than vague ambitions. For learners, think of this like project planning and construction. You don't simply declare, "build a skyscraper." You create milestones for foundation, framing, utilities, and inspection. The roadmap is the same concept applied to security program growth. Cross-functional governance forums provide the organizational structures for oversight. Steering committees bring executives and program leaders together to set direction and approve initiatives. Risk councils evaluate enterprise-wide risks and align priorities. Policy boards ensure that written rules are updated, approved, and disseminated across departments. These forums prevent security from being siloed within IT and ensure that it is treated as a business governance function. For learners, think of governance forums like a company's board meetings. Decisions are made collaboratively, accountability is assigned, and everyone leaves with action items. Security steering committees operate the same way. They make sure risk management is prioritized, policy is enforced, and alignment exists between departments. Resource planning is another major aspect of oversight. Security programs succeed only when they have the right combination of budget, staff, and external support. This means identifying the skills needed, designing staffing models, and making the case for investments to leadership. Sometimes external providers, like managed detection and response services or external auditors, fill skill or resource gaps. Without adequate planning, even the best written policies remain unenforced due to lack of people or funding. For learners, this is like running a fire department without enough firefighters or trucks. The plan may look fine on paper, but without resources, emergencies overwhelm the system. Security oversight ensures resources are planned, requested, and managed responsibly so the program can meet its commitments. Evidence and reporting requirements are central to oversight because stakeholders and regulators demand proof. It is not enough to say we are secure. Organizations must produce audit trails, reports, and dashboards that demonstrate compliance with laws and effectiveness of controls. Evidence may include logs of user activity, patching reports, or third-party audit certifications. Reporting structures ensure this evidence is communicated to the right audience, from technical teams to executive boards. For learners, think of reporting like student report cards. Teachers don't just tell parents your child is learning, they show test results and grades. Security programs must provide the same kind of evidence, proving progress and compliance with transparent, documented reporting. Integrating lessons learned ensures programs evolve rather than stagnate. Audit findings, risk assessments, and incident postmortems all provide valuable feedback. Oversight requires that this information be captured and used to refine policies, improve training, adjust controls, or reprioritize initiatives. Without integration, organizations repeat mistakes and waste resources. For learners, this is like an athlete who never reviews game footage. They may keep playing, but never improve. Security oversight institutionalizes learning, ensuring mistakes become catalysts for improvement instead of recurring weaknesses. Lessons learned transform oversight from static compliance into dynamic resilience. A practical starting point for building program oversight is to draft a one-page security program charter. This document should state the mission of the program, define its scope, and list the top 3 objectives for the year. It should identify key stakeholders, executives, IT leaders, compliance officers, and business unit managers, and assign responsibilities. Finally, it should define a simple quarterly metric for each objective, such as, quote, percentage of critical vulnerabilities closed, or phishing click rate reduction. The charter functions as the constitution of the program, concise, actionable, and measurable. For learners, think of it as the first draft of a game plan. It does not need to be perfect, but it must clearly state purpose, goals, and measures of success. From there, the program can grow into a full roadmap with policies, governance, and continuous improvement cycles. Building a security operating model provides structure for how the program runs day to day. This model defines roles and responsibilities, often documented in RACI charts: responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. For instance, IT operations may be responsible for patching, but security leaders are accountable for ensuring it happens within required timelines. Legal may be consulted on policy, while executives are informed of overall program health. Decision authorities must also be defined so that cross-functional disagreements can be resolved quickly. Without an operating model, confusion arises about who owns what, leading to delayed action or duplicated effort. For learners, think of this like a sports team. Coaches, players, and trainers each have distinct responsibilities, but roles are clearly defined to avoid chaos on the field. The operating model brings that same clarity, ensuring accountability and efficiency across the security program. Risk appetite is a strategic concept that determines how much risk the organization is willing to tolerate. Executives set thresholds that guide where investments and controls are focused. For example, a bank may have a very low risk appetite for payment fraud, but a higher tolerance for non-critical system downtime. Security controls, budgets, and monitoring intensity should all be shaped by these thresholds. If executives set a zero-tolerance appetite for unpatched critical vulnerabilities, program oversight must align resources to enforce rapid patching. Conversely, if the business accepts certain risks, resources can be redirected to higher priorities. For learners, think of this like a household budget. Families decide which risks are worth insuring and which they can afford to handle themselves. In the same way, security programs must calibrate to leadership's risk appetite, ensuring alignment between technical controls and strategic priorities. Policies form the backbone of the security program, but they require a defined lifecycle to remain effective. Policy lifecycle management includes authoring, review, approval, dissemination, and exceptions handling. Drafting policies requires subject matter expertise, but reviews ensure alignment with laws, frameworks, and business needs. Formal approval gives policies authority, while dissemination ensures staff are trained and aware of their responsibilities. Exceptions handling provides flexibility when unique cases arise but ensures they are documented and approved rather than ignored. Without life cycle discipline, policies grow stale or unenforceable. For learners, think of policies like laws in a country. They must be written, debated, passed, communicated to citizens, and occasionally adjusted. Security programs treat policies the same way, living documents that guide behavior, but with structured processes to ensure they remain relevant and enforceable. Compliance mapping ensures that controls align with external regulations, standards, and frameworks. For example, implementing access logging satisfies both internal policy and external frameworks like SOC 2, ISO 27001, or NIST 800-53. Mapping connects the dots between business requirements and compliance demands, ensuring no gaps exist and avoiding duplicate work. For instance, vulnerability management may be required by PCI DSS and ISO, but a single process can satisfy both if mapped correctly. Compliance mapping also simplifies audits, as organizations can show auditors exactly how each requirement is met. For learners, think of this like overlapping school curriculums. A project that meets both math and science requirements can be mapped to both, reducing duplicate effort. Compliance mapping provides that efficiency and security, ensuring one control supports multiple frameworks at once. Vendor governance is another critical element of program oversight, given the heavy reliance on third-party providers. Effective governance includes vendor risk assessments, ensuring suppliers meet minimum security requirements before contracts are signed. Service-level agreements must codify expectations, such as breach notification timelines or encryption standards. Continuous monitoring ensures vendors maintain security after onboarding, while contract clauses provide legal recourse if obligations are not met. Without governance, vendors can become blind spots or even attack vectors. For learners, think of this like renting a house. Landlords assess tenant reliability before signing a lease, set terms in the contract, and check periodically that the property is maintained. Security programs must treat vendors the same way, as part of the risk surface requiring oversight and accountability. Metrics and dashboards are essential for demonstrating program progress and residual risk to leadership. These dashboards translate technical activity into business-aligned indicators. Examples include the percentage of critical vulnerabilities remediated within SLA, average incident response times, or reductions in phishing click rates after awareness training. Dashboards also highlight residual risks, such as recurring audit findings or high-risk vendor exposures that remain unresolved. This transparency allows leaders to make informed decisions about funding, priorities, or risk acceptance. For learners, think of this as a student progress report. Grades show progress, but teachers also note areas needing improvement. Security dashboards do the same, showing strengths, highlighting weaknesses, and providing leaders with the context to adjust strategy. Training and awareness programs are another essential component of oversight. These programs must be tailored to role-specific needs. Executives learn about governance, managers about risk, and employees about day-to-day secure behavior. Awareness efforts must also be measurable, with metrics such as reduced phishing click rates or improved reporting of suspicious activity. Without measurable outcomes, training risks becoming a checkbox exercise. For learners, think of this like driver's education. Everyone receives training, but new drivers, professional drivers, and traffic officers each need different content suited to their role. Security training follows the same logic, ensuring every individual in the organization understands security responsibilities relevant to their position. Audit and assurance scheduling gives programs external validation. Internal reviews assess compliance and process effectiveness, while third-party audits provide independent assurance for regulators, customers, and partners. Assurance activities must include remediation tracking to ensure findings are addressed, not just reported. Without follow-up, audits become paperwork exercises. With proper oversight, audits drive real improvement. For learners, think of this like a health checkup. Doctors don't just diagnose issues, they schedule follow-ups to confirm treatments worked. Security audits must follow the same model, linking findings to remediation until closure is verified. Continuous improvement cycles keep security programs relevant and resilient. Oversight ensures the program follows a plan, do, check, act model. Plans are developed through roadmaps, controls are implemented, checks are performed through audits and monitoring, and actions refine the program based on lessons learned. This cycle ensures the program does not stagnate, but evolves in response to changing threats, technologies, and regulations. For learners, think of this like athletic training. Athletes don't stop after reaching one milestone. They continually train, check progress, and refine techniques. Security programs thrive on the same discipline, steady cycles of improvement that turn oversight into resilience. Budget advocacy is a skill every program manager must master. Oversight requires building business cases for investments, framing them in terms of risk reduction and return on security. Instead of saying, "We need more money for tools," effective advocates show how new tools reduce risk scores, improve compliance, or align with strategic goals. Risk and return framing translates technical needs into business justification. For learners, think of this like a homeowner buying insurance. The cost is justified not in abstract terms but in reducing the financial impact of disasters. Security managers use the same logic when seeking funding. Security is framed as a business enabler, not just a technical cost. Escalation pathways must exist for cross-functional conflicts or unresolved risks. Sometimes security may recommend controls that business units resist due to cost or inconvenience. Oversight ensures disagreements have defined pathways, such as steering committees or executive review boards, to resolve conflicts. Without escalation, issues fester and risks remain unmanaged. For learners, think of this like referees in sports. When disputes arise, referees enforce the rules and make final decisions. Escalation pathways serve the same purpose in security governance, resolving conflicts so the program can continue effectively. Ultimately, Domain 5 ensures that security is repeatable, accountable, and aligned with business risk. Programs begin with the charter, defining mission, scope, and measurable objectives. Activities are tied to business priorities, with metrics demonstrating progress. Governance, training, audits, and vendor oversight provide structure, while continuous improvement cycles ensure resilience. For learners, the lesson is clear. Security oversight is not a static compliance exercise, but a living, evolving program. When managed well, it becomes a trusted business partner, reducing risk, supporting growth, and ensuring accountability. Domain 5 elevates security from tactical firefighting to strategic business alignment, ensuring organizations are not only protected but demonstrably governed. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.